So in the previous video I have mentioned that if you do not mention any beans for any specific cover point, implicit beans will be automatically inferred. So for this particular case, we have a value which has around 16 possible values that are ranging from 0 to 15. So 15, I mean 16 automatic beans will be automatically inferred or implicitly inferred for this particular cover point, since I am not mentioning any explicit beans right here. But I have also mentioned one more thing, and that thing is that there is a limit, a maximum limit for how much automatic beans can be inferred, and that limit is 64 by default. So what happens if I change the size of this particular signal? So let's say I am changing the size of the signals from 4-bit to, let's say, 7-bit. So how many values this signal will have? So first I will just change this to 6, and I will also change the input to 6, and then I will just go ahead and do a regression. I will just mention the value of 128. So the stimulus will be ranging from 0 to 127. So I will do the same thing right here. So since automatic beans or the implicit beans can only have a uh, maximum occurrences of 64, let's find out what will happen for a value which has 128 possible values. So I will just go ahead and save the code, and I will just run the simulation. Okay, everything seems just fine. So the coverage of the cover point CP2 will not get affected in any way because I have explicitly mentioned the bins for this particular cover point, which is pointing towards the signal Y. Let's run our coverage report. Alright, so what is happening right here? So it is getting covered for all the possible 128 values, but since the bins are implicitly inferred, the maximum range supported is 64, the entire range is divided. So there are still 64 implicit bins, but each bins are taking into account for two possible values. So the first bin is the bin auto 0 to 1, which is getting hit whenever um, x gets a value of 0 and 1. Similarly, uh, the second bin will get a hit if a gets a value of 2 and 3, and so on. So this is what happens when you implicitly uh, apply the beans, and that too for a value which has more than 64 possible values. So there is a way of increasing the maximum number of implicit beans, and to do that you just have to mention the keyword option dot, and you have to call a method, and that method is auto underscore bin underscore max. So that is the thing, and you can just write it right beneath the cover group, and here it will be applied globally to all the cover points. So I will give it a value. Since my signal A has a possible range from 0 to 127, it has 128 possible values, so I will give the auto bin max a value of 128. So after doing that, each of the implicit bins will uh, will account for only a single value because it matches perfectly. There will be 128 implicit beans, and each implicit bean will have one single value covered. So let's find out. Okay, so here you can see that since we changed the default value of maximum implicit beans from 64 to 128, there are 128 implicit beans. So each single bin account for a single value of the signal A, since it is of 7 bits. So this is how, using this method, you can customize the maximum number of bins as per your design's convenience. Thank you so much. I hope you find this video useful and stay tuned for more.